Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
So stressful when the world's on fire. Good God. I can't look at this. Like, my strategy is you buy it and you hope that you got a good spot. Yeah, but we all think you're crazy. You don't fight this. No way. The markets are freaking out and you don't think that anything is wrong? Come back tomorrow and I'll lose it all. Should be fun. Good morning, everybody. It is the 12th. We got the whole FOMC thing done yesterday. Moved us up a little bit. Let's see here. We got more today. We got the euro, right? What time is it at? Oh, the ECB press conference starts at the bottom of the hour, so we got about 10 minutes or so before that. Let's just come over to the charts here. There you can see overnight action, just a little up. But really it was this move after the FOMC was actually quite interesting, the way that turned out. Because at first they moved down, but then they moved up. It was like it took them a bit to figure out that it was a dovish Fed. But basically, they're not going to be raising rates anytime soon because they want inflation. And they were actually saying probably no rate changes next year in 2020, which was a surprise. I thought maybe there would be one. Now they're saying 0. So that's where we're at. E-mini pointed down, although they did make a higher high overnight. This continues to look negative to me, but it's kind of sketchy. Oh yeah, also in the 10-year, we are right at where we started the month, way back over here. Over here. So, kind of a tough spot. But if the E-mini falls out of bed, we could see some opportunity. Also, elections. UK elections. And I don't really know when we get in, like that's done sort of a thing. So, yeah. And then also, man, so many alsos, right? CNBC reporting that Donald Trump is having a meeting with his top trade advisors today to determine if they are going to push back the December 15th tariffs or not. I've seen no word about when that happens. So, I don't know, guys. We'll see what happens. They're on the open, moving up a little bit, just a tad. So, we'll see what happens. How are you guys? Let's turn on the robot here. View. Here we go. Just turn that on. Already started it. I think I started it and the stream kind of like chopped for a second.
Michael XC says UK elections number 2 story on Sky News today. Number 1 story, psychologists can't cope with the hash of young kinds questioning their gender.
What?
Michael XC says UK elections number 2 story on Sky News today.
Oops.
Number 1 story, psychologists can't cope with the hash of young kinds questioning their gender. Michael XC says not joking.
He's not joking, folks. Wait, let's look. Top stories. Election day is here. Britain's out. You know what? They changed it. Oh, I did see it. It's up there.
Says rapid onset gender dysphoria.
I see it on there. NHS overdiagnosis and children having gender treatment.
Michael XC says they really led with that at the top of the hour.
The top of the hour, that was what was at the top, huh? That's interesting. It is a thing. Well, I think that in our society in general, we have a tendency to overdiagnose things. They're saying, that ADHD was overdiagnosed, which may be true. I definitely have it, but there's any kind of problem there can be like, because a lot of issues are like spectrums of issues. And it's like, okay, at what point is this a big enough of an issue that you should, go on hormones for it? I would lean towards never, but
Michael XC says it's only the most
I'm not a
important
medical
election in the
professional.
UK in almost 100 years apparently.
It's only the most important election in the UK in almost 100 years, apparently. That sounds like bullshit to get people to go out and vote. Man, I right out the gate with swearing. I apologize. That sounds like nonsense that they tell you to try and get you to go out and vote. Seriously, guys. Because honestly, the polling that I showed says that it's not going to change a darn
says,
thing.
Well, I heard that before they made the election official.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think that the conservative lead kind of narrowed, right? Conservative lead kind of narrowed. And I'm just looking at this move here up was a little bit too much. But I mean, we got the ECB press conference coming out. I don't know why you would want to take a position before that. But I am showing that a lot of people clicked here around 09. Anyways, let's see here. I mean, I was seeing stuff about polling. Let's see if I can find that. Don't worry, if Trump wins, we'll just impeach him again. Yeah, okay. Okay. Mark Levin says the next Democrat that gets elected must be impeached. Okay. High stakes White House meeting is expected Thursday. Okay, here's something about the election. That poll by YouGov MRP on Tuesday showed the Tories could win 339 seats, 22 more than they took in 2017, and a vote share of 43%. The poll also suggested Labour are set to lose 31 seats. Labour are pledging to give the Republic a second vote on Brexit. Blah, 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 blah. The reputation of voter polls is on the line too, with previous forecasts failing to predict the actual outcome of the 2016 EU referendum or snap general election in 2017, in which then Prime Minister Theresa May lost her majority in Parliament. But the MRP poll is one of the few surveys that roughly predicted the result of the 2017 election. What's hit bigger miss posting here? U.S. Agriculture Secretary says China did commit to buy up to $50 billion in agriculture products, but part of the problem is they won't commit in a contract. Sounds to me like the Chinese are full of crap. They're full of it. Guys, seriously. Have you guys never had this situation happen to you before? When I was a missionary, this would happen all the time. It's like, you knock on somebody's door, you tell them the story, and they're like, oh, that sounds like an amazing story. Well, can we come back and tell you more, like tomorrow at 6? Sure. So you come back tomorrow at 6. Nobody's home. You have their phone number, so you call them. Oh, yeah, sorry, we were gone. But we could do it tomorrow. And you're thinking, well, they were the ones that wanted to set up a follow-up appointment. So they must be serious. So we'll come back tomorrow. There you go. You come back tomorrow. They're not there. And people keep making commitments and breaking them. What happened? China said, we'll do a 2-part deal. We'll buy some stuff. You don't do the December 15th tariffs, it'll be done. And then what? They change. Oh, you have to pull off all of the tariffs or we're not going to give you a deal. Come on, man. Have you never had this happen to you before? They're lying. They don't want to tell you the truth. They don't want to tell you the truth. The truth is that they have zero intention of doing a deal. They just want you to give everything up, but they don't actually want to. They don't want to change their intellectual property rights rules or any of these other things. They're messing with you. If Donald Trump extends the tariffs, I mean, I suppose if he gave it a month, then maybe that would be a little bit different because hey, you don't want to do that during Christmas. Probably the deadline shouldn't have been in December to begin with. They took 9.5, and that's a little bit of fighting there, though. You'll see. 3 minutes. But man, you just this has every sign of somebody that's not gonna stick to their commitments. Anyways, what got me on that? Oh yes, this thing from in Discord. Which reminds me, I need to make sure that I have Twitter up. Not many. It's kind of interesting. The people on Twitter that tweet about the treasuries, kind of actually few and far between. Which reminds me, do I have a good meme to post today? Do we have a meme that applies to today? Oh, why is it opening up behind here? Oh, I already posted that one. Since Pete responded to mine, I give him another one here. They're on Twitter. Go read that on Twitter. Go see my meme on Twitter. It's funny. Well, there's 10. There's 11. There's 11.5. And the market is super light here as they start the press conference. Let's watch Christine Lagarde live, shall we? Where are they? There they are. The ECB has good music, don't they? I don't like that. Maybe over here? Can we get it small enough to... Maybe like that. There we go. Man. I'm surprised that they decided to take that opportunity of the low liquidity to move higher. Ten ticks thinking PP to R1 unless major data or headlines. Look at that. And a good strong click right there at 12.5. Hit bigger misses are green. I'm not on this. It's a little sketch in it. But the E-mini is moving. Oops. That was the wrong one. This. Oh, I forgot that we got PPI. I forgot that we got PPI. What was the number here?
Ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen. Oh, the big moment.
Welcome to our press conference. Today is the first time that I have had the privilege and pleasure of sharing the monetary policy meeting of the Governing
You know
Council
what?
of the ECB.
I like her already.
I'm delighted
She's
to
excited
sit
to be
down
up there.
reporting on the outcome of our meeting together with
Okay,
my
so
friend
PPI was
President.
negative spot 2 versus an
The Governing
expected
Council
spot
meeting
2.
was also
Or
attended
CPI.
by the Commission Executive
Excluding
Vice
food and
President,
energy.
Mr. Valdis Dombrovskis. Based on our regular economic and monetary analysis, we decided
That's
to keep the
weird.
key ECB
Okay, so
interest
that
rates
buy makes
unchanged.
sense.
We expect them to remain at their present or lower levels until we have seen the inflation outlook robustly
That move up
converge
makes sense
to
given the
levels
PPI.
sufficiently
And then what
close
was the
to
unemployment
or below
claims?
2%
Higher than expected.
within our projection horizon. And such
Humanity is
convergence
recovering
has
it, but the
consistently
treasuries are
reflected
holding. I really
underlying
think
inflation dynamics.
this one right here.
On November 1st,
Yeah,
we
you could take
restarted
that one.
debt purchases
I don't
under
like it
our
being
asset
light, but
purchase
hey, it's a
program
sim order.
at a monthly base of 20 billion euros.
We'll make this so
We
you guys
expect
can hear it a
them
little
to
better.
run for as long as necessary to reinforce the accommodative impact of our policy rates and to end shortly before we start raising the key ECB interest rates. We also intend to continue reinvesting in full the principal payments from maturing securities purchased under the APP for an extended period of time past the date when we start raising the key ECB interest rates, and in any case for as long as necessary to maintain favorable liquidity conditions and an ample degree of monetary accommodation. The incoming data since the last Governing Council meeting in late October point to continued muted inflation pressures and weak euro area growth dynamics, although there are some initial signs of stabilization in the growth slowdown and of a mild increase in underlying inflation in line with our previous expectations. Ongoing employment growth and increasing wages continue to underpin the resilience of the euro area economy. The comprehensive package of policy measures that the Governing Council decided in September provides substantial monetary stimulus, which ensures favorable financing conditions for all sectors of the economy. In particular, easier borrowing conditions for firms and households are underpinning consumer spending and business investment. This will support the euro area expansion, the ongoing build-up of domestic price pressures, and thus the robust convergence of inflation to our medium-term aim. In the light of the subdued inflation outlook, the Governing Council reiterated the need for monetary policy to remain highly accommodative for a prolonged period of time to support underlying inflation pressures and headline inflation developments over the medium term. We will therefore closely monitor inflation developments and the impact of the unfolding monetary policy measures on the economy. Our forward guidance will ensure that financial conditions adjust in accordance with changes to the inflation outlook. In any case, the Governing Council continues to stand ready to adjust all of its instruments as appropriate to ensure that inflation moves towards its aim in a sustained manner in line with its commitment to symmetry. Now let me now explain our assessment in greater details, starting with the economic analysis. Euro area real GDP growth was confirmed at 0.2% quarter-on-quarter in the third quarter of 2019 and changed from the previous quarter. The ongoing weakness of international trade in an environment of persistent global uncertainties continues to weigh on the euro area manufacturing sector, and is dampening investment growth. At the same time, incoming economic data and survey information, while remaining weak overall, point to some stabilization in the slowdown of economic growth in the euro area. The services and construction sectors remain resilient, despite some moderation in the latter part of 2019. Looking ahead, the euro area expansion will continue to be supported by favorable financing conditions, further employment gains in conjunction with rising wages, the mildly expansionary
Harlequin says,
euro
just
area
curious,
fiscal
yesterday you
stance
said you probably
and the
weren't allowed to
ongoing,
show other YouTube videos
albeit
while streaming,
somewhat
but isn't it the
slower,
same as watching the
growth in
ECB
global
press
economy.
conference?
It's a good point,
This
but I
assessment
figure
is
the
broadly
ECB press
reflected in
conference
the
is
December
considered public domain.
2019 Eurosystem staff
I don't think that the
macroeconomic
ECB is going to
projections
issue a
for the euro
takedown
area.
notice.
These projections foresee annual real GDP increasing by 1.2% in 2019, 1.1% in 2020, 1.4% both in 2021 and 2022. Compared with the September 2019 ECB staff macroeconomic projections, the outlook for real GDP growth has been revised down slightly for 2020. The risks surrounding the euro area growth outlook related to geopolitical factors, rising protectionism and vulnerabilities in emerging markets remain tilted to the downside, but
Well, I was a little late to that
become
one. I should have been
somewhat
hitting into 10,
less
but I wasn't paying
pronounced.
attention. Them getting
According
back
to
below
Eurostat's flash
11.5
euro
though
area
was
annual HICP
a bad
inflation
sign.
increased from 0.7% in October 2019 to 1%
Harlequin
in
says,
November,
hello, this is fake Mario
reflecting
Draghi, former
mainly
ECB clown.
higher
Please take down
services
your
and
video or
food
we will
price
use our
inflation.
market-making powers against your
On
trades.
the
Free
basis
Hong
of
Kong.
current futures
Uh-huh.
prices for
Well, like
oil,
you aren't already
headline
doing that.
inflation is likely to rise somewhat in the coming months. Indicators of inflation expectations stand at low
Well, I figure I'm going to piss the Chinese off one way
Measures
or
of
another, so
underlying
I'm
inflation
just going to
have
piss them
remained
off as much
generally
as
muted, although there are some indications of a mild increase in line with
I
previous
could be sitting there with a
expectations.
limit order at 10 and still
While
might be having
labor
a hard time
cost
getting filled.
pressures have strengthened amid tighter labor market,
Okay.
the weaker growth momentum is delaying their pass-through to inflation. Over the medium term, inflation is expected to increase, supported by our monetary policy measures,
Inflation is
ongoing
expected to
economic
increase.
expansion, and solid wage growth. This assessment is also
These traits are
broadly
all kind of
reflected
sketchy
in the
because,
December
they're talking,
2019
but
Eurosystem staff macroeconomic
I
projections
want to test
for
a
the
couple of
euro
things, so we're
area,
just going to go with it.
which foresees annual HICP inflation at 1.2%
You can
in
see right here on my
2019,
chart.
1.1% in 2020,
Hammer.
1.4% in 2021, and 1.6%
The order flow
in
seems to support it.
2022. Compared with the September 29 ECB staff macroeconomic
Might turn here on me
projections,
though.
the outlook for HICP inflation has been revised up slightly for 2020 and down slightly for 2021, mainly driven by the expected future path of energy prices. Turning now to the monetary analysis. Broad
Mason
money
Chan says, I am
M3
bullish.
Growth stood at
Bullish on the
5.6%
treasuries?
in October 2019, unchanged from September.
Well, it looks like I got a
Sustained
bad
rates
spot
of
again.
broad money growth reflect ongoing bank credit creation for the private sector.
That
and
right
the
there is not
opportunity
good.
cost of holding M3 relative to other financial instruments. The narrow monetary aggregate M1 continues to be the main contributor to broad money growth on the component
Mason Chan
side.
says, yep.
The growth of loans to firms and households remain solid, benefiting from the continued pass-through of our accommodative monetary policy stance to bank lending rates. The annual growth rate of loans to non-financial corporations increased to 3.8% in October, compared with 3.6% in September. while the annual growth rate of loans to households continued on
Of
its
course.
gradual upward path, reaching 3.5% in October. Our accommodative monetary
Look at
policy
that.
stance will help to safeguard very
Was it something
favorable
she
bank
said?
lending conditions and will continue
Well, I don't
to
like this right here.
support access to financing across all economic sectors and in particular to small and medium-sized enterprises. To sum up, a cross-check of the outcome of the economic analysis with the signals coming from the monetary analysis confirmed that an ample degree of monetary accommodation is still necessary for the continued robust convergence of inflation to levels that are below but close to 2% over the medium term. In order to reap the full benefits from our monetary policy measures, other policy areas must contribute more decisively to raising the longer-term growth potential, supporting aggregate demand at the current juncture, and reducing vulnerabilities. The implementation of structural policies in euro area countries needs to be
I wonder if that move
substantially
had
stepped up
something to do with what
to
she was
boost
saying. It
euro
didn't
area
really
productivity
fit
and
for
growth
me.
potential, reduce structural unemployment, and increase resilience. The 2019 country-specific recommendations should serve as the relevant signpost. Regarding now fiscal policies, the euro area fiscal stance is expected to remain mildly expansionary in 2020, thus providing support to economic activity. In view of the weakened economic
Mason
outlook,
Chan says
the
it was nothing
Governing
she said, but the
Council
move is over.
welcomes the
Yeah.
Eurogroup's call for differentiated fiscal responses and its readiness
With
to
those trades that I
coordinate.
took, they weren't necessarily bad
Governments
trades, but they
with
were like
fiscal
way
space
too late.
Harlequin
should be
says, isn't
ready
it rather
act
risky to
in
trade
an
during press
effective and
conference?
timely
If
manner.
she just says something off the whole thing can
In
just
countries
reverse.
where public
I will
debt
stay
is
flat until
high,
she stops talking.
governments need
Yeah,
to
sorry,
pursue
I
prudent policies
I thought I
and
made it
meet
clear, but I was
structural
just
balance
taking some
targets,
sim orders and
which
testing a
will
strategy.
create the conditions for automatic stabilizer to operate.
So now I see it kind of
All
worked.
countries should
but I was too late.
intensify their efforts to achieve
And
a
there
more
wasn't that much
growth-friendly
left in it.
composition of public finances. Likewise, the transparent and consistent implementation of the European Union's fiscal and economic governance framework over time and across countries remains essential to bolster the resilience of the euro area economy. Improving the functioning of Economic and Monetary Union, the EMU, remains a priority. The Governing Council welcomes the ongoing work and urges
See, now
further
they might
specific
actually push back
and
into it,
decisive
yeah.
steps to complete the Banking Union and the Capital Markets Union. Now, we are now together with the Vice President available for your questions, but before that, I'm going to take just a couple of minutes of your time to tell you a few things.
Let's try it again.
One is each and every president has his or her own style of communicating. So I know some of you are keen to compare and rate or rank. I will have my own style. So as I said before, don't overinterpret.
This lady
Don't
knows
second guess.
what she is doing,
Don't
man.
cross-reference.
She
I'm
is
going
smart.
to be myself and therefore probably different. Point number one. Point number two, this introductory statement probably rings a few bells for those of you who follow those documents very carefully. But some of you will be disappointed
Michael
that
XC
it does not
says
include
Indian
anything
test.
having to do with the strategic review.
No, don't have an
It is
Indian
intended to be
on
that
there.
way. So the introductory
I don't think they.
statement
Yeah,
does
they
not
don't have
include, does
an
not
Indian
refer,
voice. Google,
and
what's
should
wrong with
not
you?
be associated with the strategic review that we are considering. And I'll be happy to give you, I can do that now actually if you want, a little bit of
That was
my
a Laura at
thinking and
11.
our collective thinking of this on the
You see that
strategic
they
review,
pulled
because I know
800
that
off
is
and
of
then
interest to some of you.
they ticked through it and he's flipped
So,
it.
Shall I do that now? Yeah, that's easier. And then you can ask questions. So first of all, there is nothing unusual or
Michael
extraordinary
XC says because they are
about
full of Indian
having a
engineers who
strategic
don't like
review.
The Simpsons.
I actually consider for myself that it's a little bit overdue.
Maybe.
Legitimately so, because there were many other things to do, But the last strategic review was in 2003. It's been 16 years since there has been a strategic review. So it's
You would think
quite
that they would have
legitimate
made a
to
Google
have
Translate for
strategic
India, but
review at this point in time.
maybe Google just doesn't have a
Second,
lot of operations in India.
that strategic review needs to be comprehensive, needs to look at all and every issues, will turn each and every stone.
So
And
there's
will take its
definitely some
time,
fight at 10.
But will not take too much time.
Harlequin says,
By
did
that
you
I
just
mean,
assume her gender?
my
Central
plan
Council
is
of
to actually
LGBTQ Apache
get the
helicopters is
review
outraged.
started in the course of January. Don't ask me which week or which day or which second, but it will be in the course of January. And our goal is to complete it before the end of 2020.
They fall through, they hit it, but he's fighting back at 10.
Third, about the strategic review, it will be reaching out,
Michael XC
to
says, how dare you
not
forget the
just
plus
the
in
usual
LGBTQ+.
suspects. But it will also include consulting with members of parliament, and I committed to that with the European Parliament. It will reach out to the academic community, of course.
Michael XC
It
says,
will
what does the
reach
plus
out
mean?
to civil society representatives, and it will aim at not
Uzi
just
Knesset says even
preaching the
BLS
gospel
confused
that we
after
think we
jobless
master,
claims
but
unexpectedly
also
soar most in
listening
over 2
to the
years.
views of those to whom we reach out.
Yeah, that was kind of odd, wasn't
You know,
it?
it is the
I'm more
point
concerned
of
about the
every
PPI
strategic
number.
review by all central banks that are conducting this exercise to actually look at their objective, how they define their medium-term objective in particular, how they give content to the price stability that is in their mandate, and it is the only objective that we have.
Never seen
our
that in
mandate
PPI.
ourselves. So that topic indeed will be core and center to our strategic review. And there is no preconceived landing zone at this point in time.
Okay, they finally are able to
Indeed,
hold
it will
10 for a
also
second. Oh,
address the major changes that have taken place.
That was
over
better
course
than
of
the
the
last
last
hits,
16
but they
years.
still
And by
didn't hold.
that I include the massive technological change that our societies are facing. It will include the immense challenge that climate change is addressing to each and every one of us, wherever located and whatever our mission and duties. It will include aspects of inequality that are certainly
Do you
rising
hear that, guys?
in our economies.
Global warming
And
is
all
an
of those
important
will be
consideration for
addressed
monetary
with a view
policy.
to exploring each and every corner of the business that we conduct as a central
Michael
bank.
XC
to
says, every
see
time I
how
see this
those businesses
LGBTQ plus
are
ETC
affected
thing, I
and
keep
how
on
we
thinking
can
of
take them into
BLTs.
account to better respond
Harlequin
to the mission
says
that
at
we
Michael
have
XC,
and
oh
to
no,
deliver on
how
our
could I make
mandate.
such an embarrassing mistake?
Serving
Now I
the
have to
euro
find some
area
straight white cis male on
citizens
Twitter and gender the shit
delivering
out
on
of
the
him.
mandate of price stability. So that's on the strategic review. And if you have additional point that I can answer, I will. But I will not go into much further details when it comes to the substance, because the framework has not yet been completely agreed and discussed with members of the Governing Council. And I have certainly made a point of my tenure to include members of the Governing Council and to seek their
Uzi
views
Knesset
and
says
their
climate change is new
consideration,
catalyst to promote mass
before any
migration to
decision
combat
is
falling
made.
birth rates in developed economies.
With that,
Perhaps.
I have huge respect for the work that you do. You are a main audience for the central bank. You're not the only audience. And I would also encourage you not to try to sort of draw too much conclusions or
Uzi Knesset says mass
decisive
migration becomes
findings,
climate migration.
from communication that I would
I
address
don't
to
have
different
a
audiences
position
with
on
slightly
whether it's
different,
real or not.
language in order
I
to
say
be
that if it's
maybe
real,
well
then
understood
the
by
best
those who do not
solution
have
would
the
be a free
level
market.
of skills and in-depth knowledge of the
Not
matters
not
that
an
we deal.
artificial market, by the
With
way,
that, I'm
created
happy
by
to
climate credits.
Take questions. Christine is going to monitor that. And when I don't know, I will tell you that I don't know. But maybe you will know.
We'll start with
I'm
Mr.
sure you-
Canepa.
Okay, they took 10.5 again, pretty decisively.
Canepa, Reuters. So my first question is about the inflation forecast that you just read out. The 2022 forecast is now 1.6. Is it compatible with your idea of close but below 2%? Second question is about Teltro. The auction this morning, is fair to say, didn't go too well.
Michael
Banks
XC says, you know,
took
there's
out
actually a school in Paris
fewer
that the
loans
elites
than
send
the
their
ones
kids
they
to in
are
order
set
to become
repay.
someone like this
So
Lagarde?
that undo
Really?
some of your
Uzi
work
Knesset
in
says
terms of
climate
adding
change is
excess
real.
liquidity
The
into
hysteria is
system
used to
via
push
QE.
authoritarian political
So
policies.
what do you make of
Exactly.
the auction, and how concerned
Michael
are you
XC
about
says
this
regular
law
French
take?
people apparently
Thank you.
really hate this school.
Really?
Thank you very much.
I've never heard of this.
Harlequin
One
says,
thing
who do you
that
like
the
more? The new president or
introductory
discount
statement
Super Mario?
does not specify, but you will find it, I'm sure, in the
I mean, I
findings
did
of
like
the
Mario.
Eurosystem macroeconomic forecast, is that in our 2022 forecast for inflation, while
This lady is a very clear
entire
communicator,
year is
though.
forecast at 1.6%,
Mario sometimes
the
had a
fourth
hard
quarter is at
time
1.7%.
explaining what he wanted
So
to say.
directionally, it is slightly increasing over the course of 2022.
Michael
forecast
XC says, I
that we
think
have for
Macron went to that
inflation.
school.
Is it satisfactory? It's certainly directionally good, but is it the aim that we pursue? No, indeed. On
Uzi
tilt flow,
Knesset says climate change is the
my,
last great global
recollection
catastrophe
of,
that
what
governments
was
have to
taken
get
this
people to
morning
accept
was
complete
something
control.
like 97.3 billion euros, which is a little less than what was coming for maturity. Do I regard that as half success, half failure? Neither. I would tell you two things. One is, I think we have 7 auctions in the course of this TLTRO 3.2, to be precise. So I would not draw conclusion from this one. I would wait a little bit, particularly given the fact that this one is taking place at year end. And at year end, you close your book, there are many considerations that come into play. So I would not draw too many conclusions from this one.
See, that is the kind of answer that I would
have
expect to
preferred it
come
to
from
be- it to
a
be a
trader
little higher,
or a
closer
market
to
analyst
120
and
than,
not from an
to
ECB
100,
president.
but,
And it is a very good
we'll look
answer.
carefully at the next one. Thank you.
She's good.
Welcome to Frankfurt, Madame Lagarde.
Uzi Knesset says
My
a
first
system that allows
question,
people to dictate
if I
direction is
may
too
follow up
unpredictable.
on the review of
Governments
what you
want to
said
control
about the review.
direction. Solution, scare people to
You
death.
said, I mean, does the fact that you're launching the review or launched the review while you still haven't met your mandate limit how much you can actually limit your wiggle room to
What was the
how much you can
previous
actually
Fed
change
president?
your
What was her name?
definition of the mandate or your goal, since you haven't reached it yet? That's my first question. And the second question is on negative rates, because we've heard quite a lot from you, from other members of the governing council, about side effects of negative rates. At the same time, your statement today repeats,
They're still
you're
having
committed
trouble
to
with.
adding stimulus if it's needed.
They're still having trouble with 10.
So the
Michael
question
Yellen,
XC
that's
says
right.
how
Yellen.
committed
Yellen.
you still are, or maybe you're increasingly worried that side effects should actually be reflected in how you express your commitment, how you give your guidance. Thank you.
Uzi Knesset says Janet Yellen.
The timing of the strategic review. There
That's
is
right.
never a good timing, because you could argue equally that if and when you have delivered on the way in which you've defined your mandate, then why bother about a strategy? I think it cuts both ways.
She's so good, guys.
My purpose is really, after 6
This is really something to
of the
watch.
same strategy, which is the rule today, and that we will respect and will continue to respect until such time when our strategic review is completed, by the way. I think it is timely.
Ace Trade says love me some Janet.
coming
Also,
to
is it
this
rollover
job-
day in the S&P?
You?
It is rollover day. Oh, yeah. I
It's
should
just the
probably move
most,
these ones over, shouldn't I?
I think, appropriate moment to rally support of members around the table, to re-examine the effectiveness, appropriateness of each and every single instrument that we've used in the past.
They're both
To
pretty
take
light, to be
assessment of
honest.
that, and then to redefine for ourselves what exactly will be this medium-term objective that will deliver.
There's
on the
more
mandate
volume
that
in the
we have,
current
which
one,
is not
though.
changing, by the way. You said that,
See if
change your mandate. No, the
it'll let
mandate
me
is price
move it over here
stability.
and
The way in
jigsaw
which
it,
we
yeah.
deliver on the mandate is the one that will be under the strategic review. Side effects. Well, first of all,
Uzi
We are
Knesset
very
says activity
aware
in
of the
March
side
contracts for
effects.
indexes is like sparse as
I
fuck
think
lol.
it's been a constant
Yeah, it is.
in the policy of the
It's interesting.
Gary Rich says with the rollover
to
volumes won't
actually
pick up till
measure
next week.
monitor the
Ace
might
Trade
be.
says my
This
DOM
is
looks
part and
weird.
parcel of the
I don't
work
like
that is
different.
done,
Different isn't
and
good.
we will
I
certainly
think I
continue
LL go
doing
back
that.
to December.
We might develop that work further.
Michael XC says, isn't there usually more volume in current until the weekend?
And clearly,
I don't know. I
what
haven't
we had
paid
done,
too much attention to the
was
rollover
always
in the
intended
E-minis.
to deliver on the mandate.
I thought that on rollover day they
as
usually
defined
they
under
moved
the current
over.
strategy, to create the conditions for growth. And on that point, I think that the use
I'm just
of
saying, with all this
investments in
news, why would you be wanting
has
to
been quite
open a
efficient
position in the old
order
one?
to lower the financing cost, and that clearly seems to have worked. And
Especially if you
seems to
wanted to do
work
something that
properly
you
when I
plan on
look at
keeping
the,
open for a couple of weeks.
Increase in the volume of financing.
Well, that
both
was a
for the
long time to get
non-corporate
2
finance
ticks, and then
for the
they stopped at
households. When I
09.
look at the decrease in the cost itself, I think that this is a policy that works. Now, the side effects are a preoccupation. There's no question about that. And we would not be doing our job if we were not monitoring and being extremely attentive to that balance of cost-benefit of such measures.
Mr. Arnold?
Martin Arnold, Financial Times. Just to
Ace
carry on
Trade
with the
says
side
short signal
effects, I mean, do you believe there is,
3141.50.
such a
Wait
thing
till
as
it hits it a few
reversal
times.
rate? Will this
Okay.
be something that is looked at?
I would
by
like
the
to take a
strategic
short in the
group
E-mini,
who
but because of the
examine in more
contract
depth
rollover, maybe I'm going to wait.
the side
Especially
effects
since
of your
they're
policies?
slightly different.
And secondly,
And while she's talking
given
still.
that growth continues to be very weak, even by 2020, you're not expected to achieve your core target.
These moves
or
down, it
objective.
looked like they just
Do
decided
you
not to
think
Chris
there
take
is
Hobson
it.
says, is this daily
Japanification
live? Accidentally find this
in
room.
the Eurozone?
This is daily live, Chris. And thank you for joining us.
On the first point,
I might get out here just because of the
the
iceberg.
reversal rate.
Oh, of
My
course.
understanding of the reversal rate is that you are facing a reversal
As soon as I click,
rate
they're like,
when
"No, we're not gonna
credit
let you out."
begins contracting.
Chris Hobson says,
That's
thank you.
how in
Yep.
economic
I
Ace
just-
Trade says
theory,
it. Chris
the
Hobson,
reversal
welcome. Are
rate
you a trader?
is defined.
Yeah, what do you trade,
Given
Chris?
the progression rate that we're seeing, 3.8%, the most recent one in the non-corporate financial, in the non-financial corporate sector, 3.5 and growing in the household sector. That certainly does not meet the definition
Chris
of
Hobson
credit
says yes.
contraction. We are still
Michael
seeing
XC says
credit
like and subscribe.
expansion. Are we attentive to that credit
So
expansion?
I would
and those
recommend
credit
hitting that
numbers?
bell
Of course we
icon.
are, because
And that
it's
way,
clearly,
when you come to YouTube,
one of
it
the
will give you
clear
notifications
objectives that we
when
have
we're
to,
live. Because this is something these guys, they're here
financing
every
of
day.
growth,
And they're way better traders than me.
facilitate
Like,
the
just listen to
investment,
chat, ignore what I'm
facilitate the
doing.
creation of employment and so on.
I haven't been doing
So,
too well lately.
We are not seeing it, and
course not,
Of course,
Phil.
we are looking very carefully at the indicators of credit growth in the economy. Weak growth, yes, it is weak growth. And it's not at potential. We're seeing reaching towards potential in the medium-term horizon. The 1.4% for 2022. We're getting close to the growth potential of the euro area, and it is. It would be very welcome to have.
Ace Trade says,
other
so who is that
policies
gal?
join
It's
the
sure as hell
monetary
not my
policy
Janet.
in order to
Her name
support,
is Christine.
the reduction of slack.
Christine
and
Legoire.
to arrive at that growth potential and why not exceed it. So that would be very welcome, both in fiscal terms
I'm really
and
impressed
in
with her.
structural reform terms as well.
I think
Japanification,
we've got a
don't
new
think
crush,
that
guys.
We are there at all. And I think that there is certainly from the enterprise credit, there is a
Ace
major
Trade says multi-lots,
difference
take
between
first
the
profit,
situation that
1 point.
Japanese enterprises are, or Japanese
See what
households
the-
are.
anybody on Wall
relative
Street that's
to
saying
Michael
anything
XC
about it.
says
the
she's
euro area,
XIMF.
Equivalent, and I don't think that Japanification is in the cards at all.
Ms. Boufaki?
Isabella Bufacchi from Sole 24 Ore. If I may, I have two questions and go back to the toolbox. And
Gary Rich says
negative
she's
rates.
super hot.
As
I'm into women who run
Governor,
major organizations.
Ignazio Visco from the Bank of Italy.
Mason Chan says,
said in a
Mr.
recent
Longa.
interview with Handelsblatt.
Do you think
I'm
that you take that
more
one
in
long?
favor of asset purchases compared to negative rates.
I do think that they're going to test up, but it looks like
Negative interest rates is
we're
small, and with potential
Any
negative
contraction.
Ace Trade says at Gary Rich,
Any contraction.
Ace Trade says at Gary Rich, can we get her to run this country?
impact of asset purchases is
The pictures of
larger
her
and more
on
widespread.
Google
Uzi
Images
Knesset
aren't very
says, I
good.
like my women like I like my
on
shop
this
rags.
comparison.
Wrinkly and
And
rugged.
then, if I can go back to what you said just now, the welcome of fiscal policy, I've recently asked influential US CEO how you viewed fiscal policy and monetary policy in the relationship. And he told me that there is nothing wrong for a central banker to sit at the table with ministers and to discuss with ministers about growth.
What do you guys
And
think
he
is the
said,
best picture
well,
of her?
they
Ace
decide,
Trade
I
says
do
at UZI
A and B,
Knesset in blue.
and you do C and D.
We just
And
use this one?
This, he said, doesn't put in danger.
That one,
the
she looks like she's got a
independence of
spray-on
central
tan.
banker. What is your opinion on that? Thank you.
Gary Rich says at Ace, I'll take her over
All right,
Hillary any day,
On
anytime.
the toolbox, I'm not going to revisit
Uzi
the
Knesset
past.
says me likey.
Number one.
Uzi
Policy
Knesset says she
decisions
rocks
that
at
were
Trump
made
tan.
stand and were
Uzi Knesset says orange woman good.
re-endorsed.
Orange woman good.
And my view of it is that they
I
form a
don't think the
package.
first one is the best picture they
there were
have
several
ever.
components to that package. And I think that the intention was for some
Michael
of the
XC
measures, such
says,
as
is
the
Uzi
interest
trading the
rate,
old contract or the new?
to actually have an impact on the short-term end of
Michael
the yield
XC
curve.
says of S.
The
Michael XC says I
forward
mean as
guidance
Ace Trades.
is in that
Gary
was
Rich says
also
Seth look at
part of the
Largard when she
package
was younger.
that gives
Hot
a
she ages
clear
well.
calendar and
Ace Trades says
Oh,
at Gary
okay.
Rich, yeah, we sure
Uses-
dodged a bullet
Hold
with
on a
that email
second.
thing, right?
an automatic
Phew.
Hold on a second.
adjustment depending on the state of the economy also
No, I
gives
put her in means.
is intended to have an impact on the medium term end of the curve, and the
Uzi
asset
Knesset says,
purchase
oh Lord, don't
program
get
that
Ace
was
started on Hillary
reinitiated is
lol.
intended to have an impact on the long end of the yield curve. Based on what we are seeing, all three seems to have had their impact, and certainly it has been perceived as such. So I'm not going to dissect between each and every item of the package. I think that they are there together. The two-tier system was clearly an additional attribute in
Ace
order
Trade
to
says that Michael
deal with
XC
some
looked
of the
like the old
negative
had more
effects that you've
contracts
referred
trading,
to,
so I
and
went
is
with
also
it.
part and parcel
Just
of
got
the
stopped
package.
out.
I wouldn't take a view on one element or the other. On the other point that you made, to me it is critically important that a central bank
Ace Trade
be
says I like the way
independent,
she says package.
and that in
Harlequin says Hillary Clinton was hot when she was younger. Uzi
its
Knesset says
independence be
LMAO.
respected and
Gosh,
valued.
dude.
But what you
Ace
described
Trade
to
says
me
1 point
is
profit,
a
paid for the
policy
stop.
mix of first order.
Okay,
Except
let's see
that I
here.
would-
Young.
I would put
It's
A,
already
monetary,
auto-filled it
because
for me.
This is our shop. B, fiscal, because that's
This
the
one?
next possible
That
tool
picture?
that can be used. And C, structural reforms. So it takes many to actually dance the economic ballet that would deliver on price stability,
Not
but
bad.
also employment and growth. I don't see anything
Or I
wrong.
want to see her when she
Uzi
was like
Knesset says
19.
package.
Actually
Uzi Knesset
agreeing
says
that
grinning,
they're going
squinting
to
face.
take they make the efforts that they can in order to reach their respective goals.
It looks like I didn't necessarily have to get out of that one, did I?
Fairless?
Thank you. Tom Fairless from the Wall Street Journal.
Could have gotten one. I don't know if it matters.
You were discussing the merits of the two.
But they did
instruments,
push
or
out
the
of
two
that
main instruments
candle,
at disposal, the
but they
negative
only made
interest
one tick.
rates
They might,
and
I don't know,
QE.
if they go at
wonder
11.
If the economy were to worsen next year, if there was one that you think would be more appropriate to use first, that maybe was had less risks attached. Some people on your governing council, for instance, are much more concerned about QE as a policy tool. I wonder if you share that concern and see QE as more of an exceptional, unconventional tool. My second question was also about your governing council, and there's been a certain amount of disagreement in recent weeks over policy, public disagreement. Your predecessor was worried about publicly challenging the ECB's decisions. Is this something that is this a concern that you share? That
I'm not finding very many more.
Gary Rich says Hillary was nasty and fugly when she was young. Now she looks like a Bartlett pear with horrible stripes.
I see exactly where you're trying to get me.
Oh.
But, once and for all, I'm neither a dove nor a hawk.
She's
my
so great.
ambition is to be this owl. That,
she's so good.
Associated with a little bit of
she's
wisdom.
so good. She should be president.
I'm not full of vanity, but I will certainly try to bring the best out of members of my governing council in order to arrive at
Harlequin says, I'm glad I don't have to talk in English. You people would only make fun about my pronunciation. Face with tears of joy. Harlequin says,
a German accent, and we will love it.
Complete agreement on everything, and I'm sure that
I love the German
XC
accent.
says, well, she makes up for it with personality. ROFL.
She's so good.
The medium-term objectives and how we
Michael XC
go
says,
about
Clinton
it will be a source of great debates amongst ourselves. But I'm also of the view that once something has been debated at length and in depth and in honesty and with good faith, then some decisions eventually stand.
Let's see if anybody
and they are the
responded to it.
decisions of the central bank. I don't have a different view from that perspective. Are some unconventional tools better than others? This is also something that we will be assessing as part of the strategic review, because I think that we need to look in retrospect and assess what has been most helpful, what has worked best, what combination of them has worked best. I don't think that I would reduce it as you have to interest rates or unconventional measures, because I think within those unconventional measures you have a variety of things that allow to target better, to also give a better indication of time. I think in that respect the forward guidance is also a very interesting set of components that anchors into time.
Harlequin says she seems to have the right amount of orange tan to be a serious presidential contender. Vive la France.
Clarification to something that by
Michael
nature is going to
XC
be a
says,
little
while
bit ambiguous
1.18 is
nonetheless.
pretty high for
But
Euro, how has it been
introduces
recently?
This element of mechanicity or automaticity
Good question.
in how things are restated in the course of time.
Ms. Weisbach? Madame la Présidente, Annette Weisbach, CNBC. I have two questions as well. One on perhaps a bit of a technical issue, whether you think that these market-based inflation expectations are actually, because there's a big gap between them and what you are expecting. And if you are deciding on monetary policy, what are you looking at, market-based, or what are you expecting? And then a second one on the economic
Ace
outlook,
Trade says,
because
I'm bored and
clearly
entering a long
there's-
trade at
there's some silver lining on the horizon from
3,142.50.
what I'm hearing from you, but what
Okay.
makes a big difference might be the trade conflict. So how realistic and how optimistic are you that we get some more positive impact from a resolution here, and perhaps also a cyclical recovery if we are very optimistic?
On your your technical discussion of the measure of inflation, depending on whether you measure HICP inflation as is with or without food and oil prices, or whether we use market-based instrument or survey-based instruments. I think we
Well.
need to look at all of them. We need to look directionally where it's heading. I think I very strongly believe in the trends and in the direction. I know that we are all concerned, and I'm concerned as well, with the 0.1 more or less in that direction. But directionally, I think that we are seeing some consistent move. And, as part of the strategic review, I also think that we will have to look into that, because inflation perceptions can differ as well. I mean, markets have their own assessment and measurements for that. Households have a different perceptions. Some of the national central banks in the euro system are actually paying close attention to that and are trying to measure those components as well. The whole debate of whether or not we take housing into the measurements, and what portion of housing, and how do we dissect between, the asset value of the land and the actual use of the premises. Those are tricky technical questions that we will have to look at, and on which we should also take a view, because you're right, quite a difference between the various perceptions, anticipation, expected inflation, depending on how we measure.
I don't
it.
know,
So
Ace. It doesn't look like it's
I would say
gonna
at this point in
gonna
time, we
move
take
until the
all of
open
it into
is because
account.
she's
I
talking.
personally, and I don't know if Philip would agree with that, or if Louis, you would agree with me, but we look at directionally whether we are sort of consistent between the various measurements. But I think
Some interesting
interestingly,
activity
we will
through
have to
here in the
look at how it
5-year.
is disaggregated as well as part of our
Okay, so there
deliberations.
it's finally
On the
going.
on the outlook, as I said, relatively weak growth. Let's face it. What I think gives us some hope, and you alluded to that, is the fact that those downside risks that we had on the horizon are less pronounced. And I'm not going to bet
Ace
on
Trade says you
how
are right,
phase
but at
one
least I'm not bored
of the
anymore.
trade
Lol.
discussions between the
Okay, so that
United
was a
States
strong
and China
down
are
move.
heading, and when they will be completed. And
And that
it will
was what I
deliver.
wanted to take right
But
there was
certainly if we
08.
compare with a
You
few
see
months
how when
back,
they cross 08, they
it's heading
do so
in a
with
better
gutso?
direction. That's one. We will know by the end of today what is the outcome of Brexit. Sorry, not of Brexit, I shouldn't say that. What is the outcome of the UK election, which will have a bearing on what happens to Brexit and the transition period. So that's also
Ace
an
Trade
element
says
of
a much better
uncertainty
entry would
that
have been
that is probably loosening,
3,141.75.
and that will give us a bit more clarity.
Gary Rich
as to
says the Europeans
environment
always
in
take
which
2
we
years to study
operate.
things before making a serious decision, then they debate
so
the 2
that's,
years study for another 2 years.
That's encouraging, let's put it that way.
It's very sophisticated, yeah.
Gentleman with a blue shirt. Yeah.
Thank you, Max Schröers, Börsenzeitung. My first question is also on the review. You said that it will include an assessment of the instruments used in the past, of the benefits and the risks. Will it also include a discussion about other instruments?
Chris
that
Hobson
could
says,
be
what
used in
hours
the
this room live
future,
daily?
like buying equities,
So
having
we
money or
start
something like
when
that?
the
Only to be
Treasury
prepared
session
in case it's
starts,
needed in the
so
future.
around
And the second one
8:15
is
Eastern
on
time,
digital euro
and then
discussion
usually
about
for 2
central
hours, so
bank
usually we're done by
currencies.
10:30
A statement
Eastern time.
recently to ECOFIN said that the ECB
And of course, if you can't make it or
in case it's needed.
I'm too annoying or whatever,
How
you
exactly
can
is
watch
the
it
Ace
on
Trade says
replay.
it Chris
within the
Hobson
ECB?
usually an hour before
And
market
do
open.
you expect a
So
digital
like
euro in the coming years
when the
to
stream is
the next
over,
8?
it takes YouTube about 30 minutes to process it, and then it will be up as a video.
Thank you.
So again,
For the,
if you hit the bell
for
icon,
the instruments,
you'll get like.
I think it is completely
I'll show you.
legitimate to take stock and to assess the effectiveness and the efficiency
Where
of the
did it go?
various instruments, one by one, taken together, and what leverage they have exercised.
Michael
and what
XC says
results
the main
they have
dynamic of the
delivered.
EU is that the
As
northern
to
countries
the
give money to
future,
the
I think
southern and
it's
eastern
going to be
countries,
for
and
the
those countries
Governing
like to
Council
complain
to
it's not
actually
enough, so
define,
they really don't
You get that
upgrade
right there.
as part of the framework.
Like I have
we will be,
notifications turned on my other
considering
account,
those.
so
I
you
see
can see
the,
it'll
very
say
much
he's
the
live,
strategy
and
as
then
a house that we built,
you'll see
stone by
another
stone,
one when
after the other, and
when
I think
it's
that
up,
that's
I believe.
one element that will have to be decided by the Governing Council. On the digital currency, first of all, I would like to pay tribute to somebody who is leaving at the end of the year, who has been instrumental at the ECB and way beyond to help us understand a bit better and with more clarity the difference between the bitcoins of this world, the stable coins, and the digital currency. And by that I mean Benoît Cœuré, who has been a member of the Governing Council, a member of the Executive Board of
So
the ECB.
07,
and who's
that's
finishing
interesting.
At the end of this year. He committed a paper
So I guess we're
which
getting
was,
back to
commissioned, if I recall, by the
before the
G7,
the
but he
news.
also very ably participated in a paper that was prepared by the ECB, that was distributed by Vice President Guindos at the last ECOFIN, if I recall, which has the benefit in 3
think I
pages.
wanna fade this
and
still,
I think that's a
actually.
huge challenge to, draw the line between what we are talking about, between the bitcoins, the stable coins, and the digital currency. And on the latter point, the digital currency,
Ace Trade says
we
that Chris
have set
Hobson
up a
tell us
task
about your
force,
trading a little.
and we will accelerate the effort of this task force. drawing on the resources of the entire euro system, meaning the national central banks that already participate in that research, that have already committed to the project in terms of experimentation, pilots here and there. So harnessing on all those experiments that have taken place and all the research that has already put into this effort, together with the work that has been done here also, we will, I think we're trying to do that by mid-2020. We will
opening range
number
low,
one,
I
the
was
purpose that we have with that.
Air
Are we trying to
Cages says
reduce
hello.
cost?
Hey, Air
Chris
Cages.
Hobson says futures and options.
Cut out
Do you
the
trade
middleman?
all
Are we
products,
trying
or do you
to,
have ones that you
have
specialize
inclusive
in? Though?
finance at all
Most
at no
futures
cost?
guys that
I mean,
around here,
there's a
you
whole
know, are
range
either
Air Cages
equities
says,
or
what are you
treasuries.
watching?
We're watching the
objectives that
ECB
can
press
pursue. So I
conference.
think we will start by doing that. Then we will identify the technicalities of
We're
it,
watching my new crush,
which is
Destroy
not a given,
Reporters.
particularly when you talk about a euro system.
Ace
with
Trade
her
says that
that
Air
there is
Cages
also
have.
Brilliant
great
and
interest
smart answers.
outside, our regional area. I know, for instance, that Canada, the UK, certainly other countries way beyond are also looking very deeply into that to see
Chris
if
Hobson
Wow.
says
it makes sense, what
NQRTYCL.
purpose it serves, and how we can
Okay.
best deliver on it. My
Oh, you do
personal
trade
conviction
CL. That's interesting.
is that given the developments we're seeing, not so much in the Bitcoin segment, but in the stable coins
Air Cages says, I heard
and
her
we
say
only know of
Bitcoin.
one at the
She's
moment, but
mindset.
there are others.
Oh,
Trade says it's
we
trading
can't
stock
fight
on
over
Air
her now,
Cages.
huh?
We'd better be ahead of the curve.
Oh, look at that.
Because there is clearly a demand out there that we have to respond to.
Chris Hobson
I would
says
like
not
to add
very
a
often
footnote
short
to
S.
that. I think the benefit of the paper is that it also draws a line between
That
this
move
sort
is a
of
little
glamorous
extreme,
central
I
bank digital currency, much talked about and worth exploring, and the digital payment systems that we have and that exist. You know, we have several items that are completely digitalized.
Bitcoin's not moving
that
on
are
it.
not at the front end, and that, you know, the bank's clients do not perceive as being in operation, but where settlement and clearings are actually taking
Ace Trade
place
says at Chris
instantly,
Hobson that is my only
thanks to
move,
the
short
digital
S.
payment system that have been put in place, notably within the euro
This
system.
could be
So on those digital euro system that exists, some
I don't
of
know
which
if this
need
is
a
the exact
better
spot, but it's
take
giving
up
me the signal.
by some of the members of the system. I will continue
giving
to
it
push
to
because
me
I think
here?
we have something which is
No,
really
it's not.
worth.
Gary Rich
developing
says,
and
hey,
encouraging.
don't
And I'm
speak bad of
talking
my
here
future
about
wife.
tips
I'm
and
gonna
peps
woo her
and
when
all
garlic
those
coin pops.
Acronyms that I should
I'll buy
not
her a
be
yacht.
using, but
You're
I
gonna
don't
buy her
know
a
Lucy
what they
Knesset
stand
says,
for. All
wow,
I know
go
is
to the
that
restroom and come
they
back to
deliver
a
in
collapsed
digital
wall.
terms the operations of
Air
clearing and
Cages says,
settling,
can you post a link to
sometimes
this?
in one single operation. Thank you.
Oh, you mean to the YouTube? I think that, or the, oh no, he's gonna.
Speculator Seth says,
Madam President, the ECB is running a very accommodative policy, despite the fact that the Eurozone unemployment rate has gone back down to pre-crisis levels. What does this suggest about the magnitude of the output gap in the Eurozone? And what are the specific
Chris Hobson says
signposts that
GC
the
is a good
Governing
long
Council
today.
is looking for in order to gauge the amount of the remaining slack? And if you allow me a question on Greece, Greece is delivering
Chris Hobson says from 78.
above average growth.
Why are they
for
so
years
long
now and,
compared to the
quite
treasuries? That's
high,
interesting.
primary
Ace Trade says went
surpluses.
short 3,141.50
and it
again.
has reestablished market access. However, the problem
You
is
mean he
that
took a
it's
good
still
dive
hampered
there.
by bailout era restrictions. I'm referring to not directly participating in QE or the ceilings in banking portfolios of Greek bonds. Do you think that there is something that the European Central Bank could do in order to transmit its impulse to the Greek banking system and, in a way, increase bank lending faster? Thank you.
On your first point,
It looks like that the Bulls were making some
And
headway there at
considering the
06,
use of
and
our
then
various,
somebody came and slammed them back
Chris
down
Hobson
really
says
quickly.
GC
In
selling
order
scalp
to
around
deliver on our
89.90th
mandate.
stop 92.
we have one
Okay.
objective, and that's price stability as defined under the strategy as it stands today. So that's the goal, that's the aim, and that's what we're pursuing. I wouldn't venture too much into this theory of the output gap, how much slack there is, how much slack there is not. And, informed by good discussions that I've had with colleagues on the other side of the Atlantic, including at the Fed, they now say actually that they had strongly underestimated.
Claudio Ibarola says, what do you look for take a trade? Air Cages says, how's it going with trading today?
Okay, so the reason I take that trade was because I saw an increase in level 2 activity.
Ace Trade says at Air Cages, one win, one loss.
That's it.
I think we tend to get it more often wrong than
they came down. There was a stop run. A number of people, it picked up. A bunch of people took orders there, and I suspect that they went short, and we're going to have a turn here.
On Greece,
sometimes I'm off by 2 ticks,
but first of all, I would like to
it's been sitting here for long enough now. That's over, but I'm a little concerned about this 05, 06 thing happening where they came up and then you got slammed back down. That's not what I would typically see, so I might scratch it.
It's very impressive, both on growth and on the primary surplus. And I had my views on that. Don't need to repeat them.
Okay.
I
kind of don't necessarily understand the fundamental case for that thing to have happened, though.
Purchase programs of the ECB are subject to eligibility criteria, and they're also for the benefit of the entire euro system and all people in the euro area. So my guess is that as soon as Greece reaches those eligibility criteria, it will become eligible instantly to those programs. Until such time, we have to respect the eligibility
This move
criteria,
down might have been because of the UK election. That would maybe make sense.
Etienne Braque from BFM Business. When you see the Green Deal package of the European Commission, and when you see the social climate in France? Thank you.
Well, thank you very much for asking about the Green Deal that was presented yesterday by the President of the European Commission, my friend Ursula von der Leyen. I am very pleased to see the ambition of what she has announced, and I very much hope that this ambition can actually be endorsed by all European institutions in their respective territory, with their respective mandate, and in compliance with the treaties. Okay? So what it means is that in our strategic review, we will take up climate change. We will take up the fight that is taken up by the European Commission and I hope other European institutions, and see where and how we can participate in that particular
The robot's doing something here.
But, I'm only sorry about one thing. I was hoping yesterday
moved a bunch of orders that he had on the ask.
Was a done deal. And unfortunately, the Coreper, as I understand, has not found an agreement yet on taxonomy, which would
Uzi
be
Knesset says trade of the day in ZB was short 58.30 damn lol.
That's a call to them to find
I had an okay short up here, didn't I? I can't believe that it came down that much.
I'm not commenting on any particular country. You will appreciate that. But, when we say that
Uzi Knesset says so obvious on Vista chart.
We also know that monetary policy is going to be supported and boosted by other policies, amongst which the structural reforms.
You can see all the iceberging down here, though.
That will improve productivity, that will improve growth, creation of employment, certainty of the economic players. So in that respect, clearly reforms are a necessary component of.
I'm just thinking about this right now, and I'm like, but we're still contracting. So does this trade really make sense? I think that I should have waited.
Yes, Tonia Mastrobuoni, La Repubblica. Some politicians in Italy have discovered
This doesn't anything to do with my
Gary Rich says what goes up must come down. It's physics and time. Uzi Knesset says if I wanted to risk a long in ZB, I'd wait for
some
06.
form of debt restructuring, and they don't want it. So I wanted to know your opinion on this, on the ESM, which the discussion should have been closed, but it isn't. And the second question is on the banking union, because there it has been Olaf Scholz that has restarted a discussion again on the third pillar, so-called on the scheme of the
IQ says sounds good, Uzi.
but there's still a big discussion going on how sovereign bonds should be considered in the balance sheets. And so, but now even the Bank of Italy has
I really should have taken my trade at
possibility
04
to limit them
That
in
was,
the balance sheets.
there was a lot of volume
I
there.
wanted also to know if you are okay with the hypothesis to consider them not neutral in the balance sheets of the banks. Thank you.
You know, on the European stability mechanism, and I'm saying it on purpose rather than ESM, because I think each and every word actually matters. It's about stability. It's a mechanism that would be in place if completed and if embedded in the treaty, and it's European. So it's nothing that is intended to disrupt, to damage, or to hurt any particular member of the euro area. And if we had the ESM in full place, including the collective action clause and the debt restructuring mechanism.
Michael XC says, so how many countries currently have rates?
In the Greek,
Gary Rich says we need a new deal with Mexico. My damn avocados take 3 to 4 days to ripen. I can't wait.
Capable of resolving the issue in a more
Michael
expedited
XC
manner.
says Switzerland.
The debt restructuring process that it took, as far as Greece was concerned, was difficult. Took much longer than I think it would have with the ESM. We can't rewrite history, and it's a counterfactual that I'm using here, but clearly having rules established, having CACs, the collective action clause, that are intended to avoid the behavior of some very toxic creditors, as I have seen them acting in other countries, I think is beneficial to any country that finds itself
Ace
in a
Trade
difficult
says it,
position.
Gary Rich, I know,
And
right?
to assume that
Let's go
it's
to war.
intended
They
to
will never
target
take our
a
guacamole
particular
away.
country, I think is completely misguided. That's my view. On the banking union, I was really encouraged to see the paper produced by colleague Olaf Scholz, and clearly there are areas that are in debate. The weighing of
Ace Trade says nice
bonds
job,
is
sexy
clearly
robot
one. It's
voice.
one where,
Uzi Knesset says
Italy
guacamole is the glue that holds
showing
society
some
together.
openness, as I understand, and I think it's great progress. And whatever progress will happen in that area will actually be good, because banking union is one of the necessary attributes, together with capital market union, in order to make sure that we have a monetary union that works, and that, you know, where the different elements actually support each other.
Ace Trade says if it wasn't so close to open, short 3,141.75.
Hi, I'm José Stumpf from Expansión. I would like to know if the Governing Council has discussed at all the limits of the APP program in this meeting, or if it is planning to do it so in a near future, or it is something more for the strategic review. Thank you very much.
IQ says you long now? Uzi.
Okay. Everybody has two. I was surprised. Because my answer is very quick. No, we have not discussed it. Voila. So thank you very much, and I'll see you next year. So happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and whatever you celebrate, I hope you are happy and making other people around you happy.
Gary Rich says short in YM just triggered, we are off for the races. Uzi Knesset says I said if I wanted to risk a long. I don't today, lol. Uzi Knesset says not a bad call though, eh? Uzi Knesset says sellers seem to be hunting for liquidity. There was a bunch chilling at 06 for a good while. Ace Trades says Seth, microphone not working.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I muted myself for a little bit. Yeah, I don't know what my deal is. I'm really slow. Having a hard time. Like, it doesn't seem like any of the spots that I'm picking seem to be anything. I do think that I had a spot there. It's just, should I really be making as
Air
big of a
Cages
deal out
says
of
Seth,
it?
I always watch your stream with VR glasses on. I appreciate you consistently taking it to the next level.
With VR glasses. Oh man. I don't know what the deal is, guys. I think, yesterday I lifted pretty heavy weights, and when I lift really heavy weights, I tend to have some problems because that stresses your nervous system. Maybe that's what's going on. I just keep thinking that I should be reversing this. I took that last one and it was like right ahead of the E-mini. Like, I didn't even bother to check at what time it was. So let's wait for the time. Can we trade with VR? Why isn't she reading that one?
Ace Trades says it popularity matters. Yes, it's sim mode, lol.
Because the little error there. I really think that I should look back into what they've got going in VR chat, because I would like to start an exchange on VR chat. That would be awesome. Can you imagine? Look
Popularity
at this.
matters says I want to be inside the market like in my dreams. Mason Chan says I was gonna say, you took it right at the open so I wouldn't think too much about it. Air Cages says it feels like I'm actually in your house. I'm petting the pet parrots as we speak. Whoa. Gary Rich says I can't wait till we can trade with VR goggles. Big picture thinking.
That would be awesome, right? Can you imagine hundreds of deformed Knuckles players, flashing hand signals in an exchange? That'd be awesome. Well, I am not like, it is like they keep stacking the bids. Do you see this? They stack the bids, but then when they come down, it pulls. That's a little annoying.
Gary Rich says I want to pet the rabbit. He is lonely.
It's a girl. Her name is Miranda. Come on. See, and the other thing is like, anytime that I see something that I'm like, oh, I really like that uptick, I want to get in on that uptick, and then it's a false signal. Well, the E-mini doesn't look too positive at the moment, does it? Of course, the first impulse is always short. Okay. See, now that was why I got in here originally. But then it doesn't hold, right? What? Come on.
Ace Trade says what?
Donald Trump says getting very close to a big deal with China. They want it, and so do we. That's what happened.
Michael XC says Trump tweet close to China deal very.
Ooh, the E-mini is going
Gary Rich
crazy,
says oh shit
crazy.
WTF. Uzi Knesset says that's why I didn't risk along.
Well, I think we just hold this one.
Alex Tiberek says bonds dropping.
They're going to bust through 01. Or wait,
Gary Rich says I'm out, damn. Ace Trade says that asshole.
Oh, we're already, my chart is behind. That's what that's about. So below a 1, and then what is it? 30 half? Oh, we're past that too. Fetch. Okay. 25 half. Some contraction here.
Air Cages says whoa WTF.
That was crazy.
Mason Chan says my feed disconnected rip. Chris Hobson says 1/2 off GC short from 895.
Well, I don't know about that
Air
one right
Cages
there.
says Seth is making it. Chris Hobson says 89.5. Gary Rich says ADPT swing in YM.
That was
Uzi
insane.
Knesset says stock portfolio just exploded. Nice lol. Ace Trades says someone needs to take that idiot's phone away at least during the market hours. Alex Tiberex says long ZB. Air
Beast
Cages
mode.
says beast mode Seth is back baby.
I don't know. I was still a little slow getting out of that, and a little bit of a misclick could have been totally different, huh? But at least we flipped down and made that. I'm thinking though I should hold it. I mean, like, that's obviously there's going to be a pullback, but because they went through so many levels here, I think I should probably hold it. Like this could be a, oh my gosh, like this could potentially be a $500 move. Is that, am I reading that right? 128.21. Yeah, it could well be.
Air Cages says let's get $1,000 profit today. Ace Trade says went long at 3,150.25 lock in 3 points. Make hay while the sun shines.
No, we're going to get an inside bar here.
Uzi Knesset says downside value targets in ZB at 24 and 22.
Man,
Uzi
watch
Knesset
the
says below that
go.
08. Gary Rich says this is unreal. I can't find a spot to step in. It's moving fast.
I could turn around and sell and buy the E-mini, but I'm gonna, because I'm so slow. I'm just gonna do this one.
Ace Trade says there is 10 points.
I'm a little surprised that he's coming in here.
Gary Rich says fuck it going at MKT.
Right.
Alex Tiberex says short S.
Well, the E-mini should
Harlequin
at
says
the very
WTF
least.
just happened? I
Oh,
had to leave.
They're already
Air
gone.
Cages says we're all gonna make it, guys. It's time take back what's ours.
Yeah. Alex, what happened was Donald Trump said that they're getting very close to a big deal with China. They want it, and so do we. What is the exact tweet? And when that happened, they just took off.
Chris Hobson says flat GC here.
The equities easily made new highs there. I'm gonna wait because maybe they I mean, I would like to be long the E-mini, but I was watching the bond. It's okay.
Chris Hobson says one and done trade, got lucky gold trade.
Yeah. Good job, Chris. I mean, so the
Ace
E-mini
Trade
pulled
says
back
at Chris
there
Hobson
a lot.
nice, get in long S, I need to movement.
Air Cages says hello, no China deal today people, thanks bye.
Sorry. No, see, they pulled back. Theirs is going to be the inside bar. Probably between 129 and 28. This is going to be one of those hard ones. They're going to try and stop people out on the upside. That tweet was really out of nowhere. No downside risk anymore. Recession canceled, folks. Recession canceled. Okay. So here's the inside bar in the ES. Oh. Look at the volume in the swing here on the Vista chart is quite something else. Okay. Wait.
Gary Rich says now they wanna jerk me off and I didn't get a kiss or rose.
That wasn't right.
Chris Hobson says thanks, Ace.
I almost did something really dumb, guys.
Air
That could
Cages
be
says I
bad.
thought we're going to have all kinds of recessions today. What happened? I traded in my stock certificates for government cheese. Yelp.
I set them both to the full micro future to the full futures. Okay. Well, now I can't. And now I'm stuck. That sucks. Wow, look, the micros are just all over the place. That's wild. So I took a trade. I took it in the regular E-mini, and because I guess you only need $300 for it, I gave it to me
Chris
and I made
Hobson
12
says
bucks.
at ACE trades, nice long S trade.
So now I've kind of got to wait for it again. I can't believe the MES is like that. Oh, come on. MES, was that the right one? That's March. Yeah. There's just like nobody in there. That's crazy.
Ace Trades says at Chris Hobson thanks. Let most of my contracts get hit at 10 points because why not, and now sitting with a few locked in at 5 points.
I can see it trying. Nope.
Uzi Knesset says either holding here or taking a shot down to 16.
Okay.
Air Cages says only 24 watching? Look at that trade Reddit, look at it.
Right.
Chris Hobson says Ace Trades, congrats.
That one was just quick clicking though. It wasn't anything special. Now, if we can get a continuation trade in the E-mini, then I will be proud of myself. Okay.
Ace Trades says at Chris Hobson it wasn't skill, I just got in on that wild ride. It could have gone very wrong. Chris Hobson says cover my shorted volatility from YD here.
Come on.
Alex Tiberex says ZB goodbye 157 to 27.
Okay. Oh, I should get rid of that thing, by the way. Okay. Well, that was nice.
Alex Tiberex says stop 157 to 20. Gary Rich says crude on the move gonna try to give them my profits in YM.
Keep them, Gary. Take more. Keep what you got and take more.
Chris Hobson says check both PYPL and all stocks, long YD.
I don't
Eric
know which
Cages
stocks
says what
those
was
are.
your biggest trading day so far?
I've never caught one
Ace
that was
Trade
more
says
than
it Gary
16
Rich good
ticks.
for you, trying to stimulate the economy. You're like a mini QE3. Gary Rich says long trigger at 59.20 I crude.
If this move in the 10-year actually does end up being going to 500, that would be the biggest one I ever got.
Chris Hobson says YD equals yesterday.
Well, I tell you what, he better be right about this deal being very, very close, because if he was jumping the gun on something and it doesn't work out, then this market is going to be really unhappy about it.
Ace Trade says it Chris Hobson nice.
Okay. Well, it looks like the Treasury is about to break another low. Thank you.
Ace Trade says be back, it's waffle time. Chris Hobson says OMG, GC keep falling without me disappointed face. Gary Rich says crude is climbing on, yeah. Air Cages says make a video, how to make $500 at home per day.
At home per day. Thank you. Well, now the question is, how high can it go? But by the way, do we got John in here now? I need John to give us like some extension targets. Couple of inside bars, but it does look tilted to the upside. And if we get above 64, then we should be free clear. In fact, at 64, I could potentially take another contract. I don't think I will, but.
Alex Tiberex says if bonds go back up then NQ drops.
No, I don't think that the bonds are quite done yet, to be honest.
Air Cages says ATH today?
Well, they're already all-time highs.
Uzi Knesset says seller getting kinda pooped lol.
Well, you see how they're playing this
Uzi
game
Knesset
like,
says get him a
we're
Red Bull.
done. we're done. But then they're able to push. Like there's that 26. They're definitely going to fill him. Yeah, there's nothing below that till 16. Wow. I'll move that. There you go.
Gary Rich says crude is stalling. I'm out. Not bad for 4 minutes of work.
Yeah. Okay, well. Can you imagine if we had been in our original short? Oh my gosh.
Air Cages says what made you flip that trade to short?
Just the way that I knew that there was news. I see all of those going crazy together. I knew that I had to flip. I didn't even know what it was. I just knew that they had said something. And that it was probably trade. That's the one. I'm not going to say I'm like amazing trade or anything. To me, it's just like close your eyes and click. Because then a move like that, it doesn't matter where you click. It's going to go. One of the things that was interesting about that one, where did we get it? Oh, okay, so 055 was where it started going down. But like, there was people closing positions all over the place up there. It was pretty wild.
Gary Rich says yeah, Peter Navarro used his alias in an article on Trade Deal.
Well, Forex Live is just retweeting a bunch of quotes from all of the trade advisors basically saying that they were getting close to a deal. It actually, I suppose when I was reading this morning, like the big thing that was the holdup was that China needed to commit to the buys in a contract. Which it doesn't seem like that should be something hard to make happen, you know? Well, they did touch into my 16 ticks and then I back off a little bit. Isn't it weird how where my even ticks end up being tends to be the spots that they have a hard time? It's like at 16, okay, then that's the one that they can't hold necessarily. Even though like where I got in at was completely random, right? Yeah, China talks are going very well, says Trump. We're getting into the final lap, says Munition. We are coming down into
Alex
the
Tiberek
short
says,
strokes.
are you short bond futures?
Says Kudlow, getting very close to a big deal, says Trump. Yeah, so the way that my DOM works is the red price is where I'm short from, or the blue price where I'm long from. And this column right here to the left is how much money I make at each price. So I took a sim
Uzi
order.
Knesset says, I remember someone telling you about the significance of 8, 16, 24, and evens. That guy was stupid.
I actually have some numbers that say things about those numbers, actually. It actually is a thing. But anyways, now let's just be clear. I don't want to be like deceiving anybody. This trade in the 10-year was sim, okay? So it was a great trade, and given the circumstances and everything, I think that we can say that, okay, yeah, it was a good trade, but it was not live. It was not live.
Gary Rich says ISNT this the second time we had major market moves on trade deal 2 weeks in a row.
Right. Well,
Uzi
I mean, it
Knesset
moved.
says, yeah, you did it with tech and back testing. I did it with my eyeballs face with tongue.
The thing is, there's definitely something to those numbers, but it's so small and insignificant. It seems to me, though, that people like even numbers is really the gist of it. So that 16, that's half of a point, and that's why it ends up being significant, and that's the only reason why.
Uzi Knesset says, I am super low tech, haha.
Yeah. And 13, the one that surprised me was when I went, because the one that was, I thought that 16 would be the strongest edge, but no, it was 13. They don't like trading 13. It's a real thing. Like, there must be a really powerful algorithm out there
Uzi
that
Knesset
refuses
says,
to
I
take
think
a
it has to
profit
do
at
with
13.
options levels myself.
Oh, that could be true too. Because that's where the option strikes are, huh? Hu Xixin, glad to see President Trump saying this. They, China, want it, and so do we. The U.S. Only when both sides want a deal can it be truly reached. Okay.
Air Cages says, wait, that trade wasn't live? You didn't just make like $200 right now?
No,
Uzi Knesset
unfortunately
says
not,
the
Air
options are
Cages.
priced in half points for certain contracts and evens.
I did make some money. You know what's funny is I could have held my original long in the E-mini that was a misclick, and I'd be up $460.
Gary Rich says, I need Uzi Huskies to give my market calls. My border collie is lagging. She watches too many duck videos.
Can you believe that? That would have been dumb, though. I did the right thing by getting out of it, but can you imagine?
Uzi Knesset says, now you get buyers in ZB trying to front run the load at 16.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that question for us now is, how high can they go in the E-mini? Oh man. Oh man. Like, I can't even, I have nothing to base it on. It's just, okay, that right there, that was.
Air Cages says, how much did you make today? Uzi Knesset says, sellers just want that liquidity goodness, too much to risk it.
Come on. Fill me. Okay. Let's see if they go higher, but that was my out. That was my out. You see a stop run like that, I'm done. I'm done in the E-mini at least, because I have no clue how far that
through
can
16
go.
like butter, damn.
That was crazy, right? Watch, man, look at the treasuries go. Well, we can move this, I guess, and lock that in. So I caught one once that was 24, but I have never gotten a full 32 or 64. Oh, look at that. They're still going.
Uzi Knesset says, big load at 05.
This is insane. Oh. That right there is also a take your profit.
Uzi Knesset says 08 value target 1 tick away, so close.
They went to the 21 and right to it and bounced. Curious. I need to load more data. How many days can I load? Oh, I can download. I need to do like 180 days. Let's do 180 days. Okay.
Air Cages says, do you feel bad about not taking that trade live?
Oh, well, I couldn't have taken that one live
Gary
anyways,
Rich
right?
says we need more of these days whips and twist. Man, what a reversal of sentiment.
I think so. When I looked at it last night, we were 85, or sorry, we were 485. So now with that, now we're going to be at what? We're going to be at around 530 or so. So now I could take one in the E-mini if I wanted to, but I could only like risk a tick or something. So that's just how it shook out. It's okay. The bigger thing is that yes, I caught one of the biggest winners ever, but I was having trouble before that, right? So probably before we start trading treasury trades again, we should be a little cautious. Okay, so now that I have this bigger stuff, I see one at 080.
Uzi Knesset says 08
085.
traded yay.
Look at that.
Gary Rich says my Colombian cam model's gonna call me daddy tonight. I'm stimulating Colombia economy. Uzi Knesset says cut through the load at 05 mad quick, too damn, still may have legs.
This is something else. And look at the way that
Tristan
they
even
just
says,
cut
can you explain
through
what
5
all is on your
days.
dashboard?
Okay. You won't just want to see me to explain everything
Locked
that's on the
by.
screen? Okay. Oh.
Air Cages says Colombian male models? What? Uzi Knesset says woo-ah.
I probably shouldn't have gotten out of that, but it's okay.
Uzi Knesset says the market is mad.
I think that was actually a good... hold on. Wait, what happened there? Okay. Came just short of 16. I could have taken it as 16. U.S. Dow Jones says U.S. negotiators also offered to cancel new China tariffs set to take effect on December 15th. Offer to cut existing tariff rates by up to 50% on... Holy shit. Okay. That's what moved them. Negotiators offered to cut existing tariff rates by up to 50% on 360 billion of Chinese imports. That was the news. Well, it's way too illiquid for me to take one now, so we just kind of relax. Okay.
Uzi Knesset says I take screenshots of the Vista chart at the end of the day to view the liquidity map for the entirety of the day, right? Well, I don't think I have enough screen room to do it today, haha.
Okay, so now that that's all over, maybe I can try and explain what's on my screen a little bit better, huh? So, these ladders here is mainly what I look at. And I have 5-year, 10-year, 30-year, micro, E-mini.
Gary Rich says it's 50% of 25% cute.
Regular E-mini. Okay. Blue column is buyers. Red
Gary
column is
Rich
sellers.
says cut asterisk.
Middle two columns are market orders hitting into them. Okay. Price, volume profile, And then this column turns into your profit and loss, etc., etc. Well, I'm thinking about that move before, and I got out at. I wanted to get out at 16. They still haven't touched it. I think that it wouldn't be too bad to be trying to get in here, but I'm surprised that there is 10K going back and forth here at 16, half, and 17, given that the piece of news was way positive. They're going to take some of the tariffs off to get the deal. That's a really big piece of news. That is really surprising. I am shocked that anybody is buying it here. And I'm shocked that the E-mini didn't extend much further and is coming out, but that's just probably just the positioning. Oh, look at those sweeps in the E-mini. Wow.
Gary Rich says at Ace, are you still long?
That is something else. Okay. And then I have these charts here, and these charts right here are indications of level 2 activity. So when I see an outsized move with a high amount of level 2 activity, that's where I try and take trades. Because what's happened is everybody has gotten into a trade.
Says, is the trade war over with China now?
So everybody went short there, and all of their positioning is off, which means, by the way, that we could get another short here, potentially. When these longs are done getting squeezed out, and maybe we get another one of these, and then we could take it short. Okay. But these two columns right here have to do with large orders. So I also, if I'm not seeing large orders, then I don't want to be involved in the market. For instance, in the 5-year, look at that. The big guys like pulled. That's interesting. This bottom one is cumulative delta. Okay, and then I don't show this one for the E-mini because I've had a hard time making it work with the E-mini, but so I just show the Vista chart. So this is just shows you the liquidity in the Vista chart, cumulative delta, buying and selling. And then this up here, this is the one that's
Air Cages says trade war over now America, K-Zank spy.
This one right here is a level 2 tape. So look at that right there. Somebody bid 1,700 at 17. Do you see that? It was just now. So while we were up here and it was 3 away, they're bidding a ton at 17.
Gary Rich says all world indices are all green.
I bet. What a move. That is straight up the most insane thing we have ever seen. Without question. And we were like way short before that. Like, I can't believe that I was short at 10.
Says that's a month maker right there.
Yeah. I can't believe that I was short at 10 and then
Gary Rich says
scared
except
out
BTC,
of it.
It's still red.
But maybe the reason why it sold so hard there was because they knew that news was coming or something. Not out of the question, although I also think that it might have been that the UK election appears to be not as bad for Labour as initially thought. I remember I had a video that was like, why the trade deal probably isn't happening. And I remember saying during that, I was like, I'm probably going to be more wrong about this than anything I've ever been wrong about. Well, if they sign that trade deal and the tariffs don't come in on the 15th, then I was wrong. No question
Gary
about
Rich
it.
says gold took it on the chin temporarily.
So now that we got that all squared away, let's just double check here. I should be able to. Yeah. I'm going to put orders back in. Where did I get out in the E-mini? Took it at 62. think I took, oh no, it was 59. I think I took 10 points on it, right? 71. Okay, well, we're getting the inside bar here again. Zero hedge.
Gary Rich says, remember when I mentioned the GBP dollar jumped, it was a slight tell for Brexit and something else to come.
So here's what Zero Hedge says. Trump folds, offers to cancel new China tariffs, will cut existing tariffs by 50% in exchange for pledges. I don't know. If that's really the deal, that is a little disappointing to me.
Air Cages says, is Brexit happening?
I don't know, man.
Uzi Knesset says, I want to see Labour take the election. We need a nice first world example of the effects of communism, lol.
Oh man, Uzi. When you said that, when I want to see Labour take the election, I'm like, did Uzi get taken over by the Chinese again or something? Like, what the heck? You just want to see, well, then it made sense. Funny. Well, 75 isn't bad. You want to know another thing that makes me happy? Was that trade that I took in the E-mini? So I'll just show you the live ones. So here was the one where I caught a tick and it was like, oops.
Gary Rich says it's Trump's art of the deal. Classic read for understanding Trump. Uzi Knesset says, I am tired of seeing third world nations crumble under communism. Everyone brushes it off in an argument.
Something
if
else is
communism could
happening.
destroy the UK, then it'd be settled, lol.
There was another stop run higher there, and I don't know if there was another headline news or what. I was saying the thing that I wanted to say was, look, I only had one tick against me on that E-mini trade. Not bad. I don't know how I did that, but I saw it, and I saw the spot, and I took it. So that kind of prevented the inside bar that I was looking for, so now I'm not quite sure what to do, but I like 74.
Air Cages says, what's happening? I'm scared, still short in S.
What? Are you short in ES?
Uzi Knesset says, since I'm still new to longer-term investing, it is interesting to see how my portfolio handles volatility. Gary Rich says, YM finally done, wow, this took so long.
I don't know, guys. Here's the thing. With that news, if it's over, and I mean if it's truly over, then there is no reason that this doesn't close at its high of the day. That's what should happen. Wall Street Journal U.S. side has demanded that Beijing make firm commitments to purchase large quantities of U.S. agriculture and other products to better protect U.S. IP rights and to allow greater access to Chinese financial services sector. Firm commitments. Firm commitments. All that and all they're asking for is firm commitments. Says 76 isn't bad. 76 isn't bad, but can you believe the low liquidity over here in the March contract? So now I'm getting another short signal in ZN. I'm feeling greedy.
Ace Trade says I should keep this to myself, but I'm up 23 points so far.
Wow, Ace. I only caught 10. Hey, you know what, though? I did what I was supposed to do. This is good. It was way good. Oh, by the way, does that mean...
Uzi Knesset says noise. Gary Rich says they are just calming the markets for Sunday when the deck tariffs kick in. It's a way for the markets not gap down Sunday night. It has to be no other reason for this.
You think so? I don't know. I sure do find it odd. Seems like an uncharacteristic deal.
Gary Rich says that Ace is the big boss of the room.
Yeah, he
Air
is.
Cages says all my friends got liquidated. What's happening?
And the thing is that you got to remember about him is that was probably on multiple contracts too. So impressed. Okay. So if I go back to here.
Ace Trade says at Gary Rich nope, literally just click to get in during the rush.
Yeah. Good job. Yes, that does. That puts us, oh no, not net. Net, I still need $70.
Gary Rich says at Ace shush I smashed the YM for over hundy.
I mean, I kind of feel like taking it in here.
Ace Trade says baby needs Christmas. Uzi Knesset says FOMO master.
FOMO master. I mean, that's the thing. That is where you as a retail
Ace
guy.
Trade says at Gary Rich nice. I'm calling the IRS and letting them know, lol.
That's where you have an advantage. If you only have to click in one order, you just close your eyes and click when it starts doing that. You know something's up. You just run with it. I'm kind of wondering now, though, like...
Gary Rich says at Ace I just paid my Kurtly taxes, damn I cried.
Oh, that sucks, dude. Now that we're... there was another little rush. I should have taken that trade at 18.5, huh?
Ace Trade says okay, away from computer again.
Vortex, that would have been nice.
Ace Trade says at Gary Rich don't cry, it means you made a ship ton of money.
Oh, man.
Alex Tiberex says Ace Trades, are you the guy with the trading room Ace Trades?
I don't think he runs his own room. He sure gives us good trades in here, though, man. Let me tell you what. He is a legend. At this point, he is a legend. No kidding.
Ace Trade says at Alex Tiberex yes. I have my own trading room that I charge thousands of dollars, and then I come in here and give them away for free.
Act now, Alex, and he'll give you a 10% discount.
Seth, will he give a good deal? I can cook, clean, and take care of the lonely rabbit.
Oh, listen.
Says, lol.
If you want the rabbit, you can have the rabbit. If there was somebody out there that I knew would take care of it,
dislike paying income tax? Give me a hell yeah.
I would, no questions asked. I would just give them everything for the rabbit, right then and there. I wasn't 100% sure about that 76 area. It was a good spot.
Ace Trade says at Air Cages, I like paying my fair share of taxes. I like that there are guys with guns keeping my family safe.
Yeah, I think we should pay our there needs to be a certain amount of tax.
Uzi
That's
Knesset
reasonable.
says Ace will give you great tips for a Christmas ham lol.
The thing that bothers me about taxes is how many different things that they tax. How many different types of taxes there are. You know what I mean? Like they're hiding the true cost of everything from us by making it so complicated. If it was like you just paid your income tax and everybody paid a flat rate and those were the only taxes that existed, people would be outraged to know what percent that was being taken. But you make
Ace
the rich
Trade
pay
says
more
at
and all
UCI
this stuff.
Knesset, I think it's important to know let it dry out.
So they're stepping there on the edge and not
Uzi
taking it.
Knesset says lol.
There they go. Okay.
Gary Rich says I dated a woman who owned a rabbit that pass furball would crap in my shoe. Oh, did I want to take it on a long, long trip?
I saw this. This is so dumb. I saw a TikTok yesterday where there was a rabbit and they would flick its tail and a little ball turd would come out, and they did it like 5 times. It was hilarious. A lot of the best Snapchats are gross humor, childish humor. Like there's this other one. There's this video where
Air Cages says taxation is theft. Prove me wrong. Fight me if you must.
there's this song that's like I've got so much more of everything than what she's got. And there's this one part of the dance where the girl will like really swing her butt out.
Ace Trade says at Air Cages you want roads? Because that is how you get roads.
Yep. And there's what somebody took that video and like put it side by side. And when she does that, they threw a big thing of what looked like poop onto the other guy watching the video on the other side. And then the guy like threw up. It was so gross, but it was great. It was a great video.
Chris Hobson says, sir, if you don't mind, could you explain the DOM? I am lost from all the colors on it. Where is bid and ask, and if trade, where is the buy or sell on TJE DOM?
Okay.
Gary Rich says rabbit crap is not easy to get off socks, it suicks.
This'll be a good thing to get me off of my FOMO, because I like really want to take like irrational trades here. Where is it? Oh, here it is. There we go. Okay. So this
Ace Trade says at Chris Hobson, it if helps. I have been in here for months, and I gave up trying to read the DOM long ago.
Yeah, so that's the interesting thing. We don't know how Ace does his trade, but he tells us what it is, and it's amazing. But we know that it's not a DOM signal. Okay. So these are buys, these are sells, right? And then these are market sells, right? Hitting into that right there. Market buys, right? So see, they sold 428 to make it tick down, and then 900 stacked, 1,000 stacked on top of it. And now the 16.5 is pulling. Now they're trading
Smash
the 16.5.
the Bid says Ace has secrets, and secrets don't make friends.
Okay. A little bit of stack, but they do take it. Now notice this one right here. 2380. So somebody kind of trying to step on it and turn it here. And you can see
Air
that in
Cages
the price
says,
action.
Rhodes, I'm a day trader. I don't need roads to trade futures, buddy.
You got yours, huh? Okay, so how do I trade off of it? Hold on, there's another comment coming in here. It's going to take a second because my thing is backed up.
Uzi Knesset says I don't need roads for my CRYBERTRUCK. Ace Trade says at Gary Rich, in fact, I changed the setting to low power just to give my trading connection more juice. Seth looks blurry, and the charts look like they are from the USS Enterprise bridge.
You know what? My face is, I need a better, it's the lens. The kit lens is a little blurry, unfortunately. So maybe here we'll get a prime lens in a bit and fix that. Ace is the Vader of charting and signals. He is our father.
Air Cages says where we're going we don't need roads.
Okay, so anyways, so how do we trade off of it? Okay, that's a good question. And that's really hard. So here's the thing, is that say I want to buy. Say I'm a really big guy and I'm really stupid and I really want to buy it here. Okay, I could do something like this. I could put an iceberg at 14.5. So you might have seen there was only ever 1,000 on the bid there, but it took 3,800 contracts sold into it. It still held and it turned back. So that was an iceberg. Somebody has a position from around here. Okay. Now look, 32.28. That might have been him. So he might have gotten out, right? So that's kind of what we're doing, is we're kind of trying to track individual trades to make a determination about where things might go. So we knew there was a big order here at like the 14, I think it was. And that's like right where they stopped. And now they're coming up. And you can see they're actually stacking on top of it. Okay. But here's the thing, is that he could have also, instead of hitting on the bid, he could have also bought here, here, and here, you know? And so it kind of becomes it becomes difficult for us to see which way the big guy is going. But there are certain situations where things are overextended where we can potentially see it, right? So like a good example, and that's why I have this chart up here. You see this one right here? So what happened there? We traded, that was when we first traded 16.15, I think. And there was a big stop run and a lot of people put orders or took them off there. Okay. So when lots of people do orders, that's like everybody's in at this point. So there's a high probability of it turning around, and that's what it did. Right. So that's how we take the trade. So, but we're going to see it here, and we're going to see something here. We're going to see that tons of orders flipping around, it going, and then unable to go through a price for no reason, and quick turnaround, and you could take it along there potentially. Right? We're on the upside. Well, there's probably not a good example here. Maybe if we go back, there's a better example. I like looking at charts and drawing lines. It works for me. Okay, so yeah, we do have some over here. I'm gonna have to make it like much bigger. Okay. Okay, so here they moved. Oh yeah, they moved up. Okay, so see here, they moved up. They moved up, and then what happened? It died down. That's how we knew to take it short. That's why we were taking it short at 11. Because the level activity was low. So what had happened was they had made a new high, they had overextended, and then they had overextended on this side too. You see that one? But then they lost interest in it. So that meant that there wasn't new people coming in and trying to take it long again. So we can potentially see it move to the other side, and that's what we saw, right? Okay, here it's going. Then there's the event, okay? That one was a news event. We know we can short that. Okay, it's just trend. Okay, now it's really going. And that was where we got out. That was where I got out. Okay, now we could have taken it short again. Here, around here when it died down, all right? But here, this one, it kind of, I don't know. See, now it's in a range area, so that's why I'm not touching it. Okay, so those are some of the sorts of things that you might see. Another thing that you might see is, oh, that's a big iceberg at 17. Okay. Another thing that you might see is like it'll tick up and all of a sudden there'll be like a huge bid there, you know? Yeah, so like that time it ticked up and they're only putting 800, 500. Like that means there's a good chance that they're going to push it up and then they're going to push it back down. And it usually takes some sort of a change where like this guy stacks and this guy pulls before they can push. Okay, so like that time they put 1,000 on it, 1,300. This guy might pull now. Let's see. Nope. He pulled it. This guy pulled again. We'll wait. It's also the 5 years kind of the one that we also need to watch. Okay, so there was a change. That stacked to 2. So now they might try hitting 18. And we're just kind of watching all of these in aggregate to kind of try and determine who has control. Does that make sense? Okay, they took it. Or these ones.
Ace Trade says it Rich Gary has made more money trading than I will ever make. He has forgotten more than I know about trading. And women. Air Cages says I like looking at charts and drawing lines, works great for me.
Oh, yes.
Air Cages says my Amini short looking good, almost at break even.
The purple and magenta color. Well, so this one, I think you're talking about this right here, right? That is the most traded price of the session. And then on the downside here, this 131.66. Volume weighted average price. Chris says yes. Yeah, this is a volume weighted average price. So how do we use those? To use those, we should come over here and pull up my volume profile. Okay, so here's a volume profile. Right. Prices that have been traded a lot are likely targets when you come back in. So like this is going to be like, here was a range, and this was the most traded price. And then if you trade through it, so when we have a day like this, for instance, if we come up above it, and then we come back into that volume profile area, once we come into it, there is a very high, like 60% chance, something like that, that we're going to trade to the other side of it, which in aggregate ends up being to here, okay, in the treasuries. Now they extended a little bit further than that. So I'm wondering where they're getting that number from. Okay, so they're getting it from here. Here was a volume profile area that they traded before. Probably. I really think that maybe later in the day they'll get to 080. I think that for now they've kind of balanced, but I think that there might be another leg. Anyways, so that's why those matter. Or like the VWAP. I don't have a chart with any of those up right now. I used to put them on everything. That's very common, especially in a trend, for us to come back to the VWAP and then bounce off of it. So you can see this one, the VWAP is all the way up there at 30. So it's going to take a lot of volume here to bring it back down. Man, the MES is still kind of wild. So I hope that explained things. So so here's the two things. To learn level 2, I recommend a trading course that's like, it's a little book and a couple of videos called No BS Day Trading. That's like $70. Good value. You're not spending a ton. He gives you the basic rundown of what's going on and how to read it. Right. I love that book. And that was kind of how I got my start. Now you don't necessarily trade his setups. You watch the DOM and you come up with your own setups based off of what he's said. Okay. Why do you still use market profile? I really find it useful. The thing that I find the most useful is just like these naked point of controls and what I call single prints. So like if on a 30-minute chart places that have only traded once in that day, those are like really likely places for them to come and stop and stuff. Smash the Bid says you rolled too early. Yes, and MES look really thin. Yeah, I know, right? Well, I don't understand why it's so thin, but I took a trade in and it worked out, so it was whatever. Whatever. It's been proven not to work. Well, that's true. At least I believe that it's true that Dalton, he made his thing, and then he got together with this other guy, and they had some technical setups, and then it stopped working or something. But then other people have been very successful with it, and so that's why he still teaches the courses and everything, because they just like everybody begs him to do it. But I think it's like everything else, right? I'm using the volume profile because I know those are things that people are going to see, right? Like this naked point of control back at 128.09, 08 or so. It's actually at 09. That's going to be a real target. I mean, they're going to trade that. Unless this trade war news flips around, they're going to trade that at some point in the next week. I can almost guarantee it. Now, does that give me a trade per se? No, but I think it's a useful thing to know that everybody's going to be looking at that, right? But there's plenty of things like, I don't know. This signal right here that I'm showing you, when there's a lot of activity on the level 2, it tends to flip around. It works really good. Looks like it would have worked okay today, but I've had trouble with it the past 3 weeks. So what you gonna do? Now, part of it is that I've had so many buys. I think I've just been on the wrong side of this.
Air Cages says make sure you smash that like button in the face, goddammit.
Gary Rich says market and volume profile are good for reference points and see where liquidity happened. You can see supports and resistance areas.
Yeah. I don't have any actionable setups off of it. It's just like this other thing that I'm watching. So here's something that I'm finding really interesting is that in the charts here again is I'm trying to determine oh, hold on, let me make this like really big. Okay. So what I've been doing is I've been looking for periods of market contraction and extension. So here's something that I can tell you I know is true. There are inside bars and there are outside bars. What do I mean by that? Here, right here, this white one right here.
Ace Trade says I'm back.
So like here in the treasuries, okay? White bar from 11 to 09. Okay? It is completely within inside the bar that was before it. Okay? Undisputable. Everybody can see that happens, right? Why does that happen? Well, the market consolidates and expands, right? So here you have an expansion. This one right here. And they move up, consolidates, and then they break the bottom side of it. Okay? Well, what we've found is when we're here in this inside bar, I can't necessarily predict which way it's going to go. I might be able to look at order flow and see that somebody is trying to make a trade and push it down, and that's kind of what I did. That's kind of why I went short at 11, way earlier. But it didn't really seem to be working, and I got out of it. That's kind of weird, right? But I saw them going for it. once they go for it, like everybody's stops are gone, right? So then we get this thing. And then of course the trade war news came. So beyond that was like, okay, but the thing that I'm looking for is, okay, if I can read when there's going to be contraction and extension, then it's easier for me to pick a good risk reward. That's the idea. But what I need to do is I need to backtest. Like every time that it breaks, just take it and see what happens. And now similarly, when we get like a big bar like this, so like this is the best example here in the E-mini. Okay, here was the initial thing. And then I saw this. That's why I was willing to take a trade at 31.59. Because I knew, well, heck, you just buy this. I knew that you just buy it. He says he's back. Welcome back. I know that this is a buy. So if it's contracting here, then why don't we take it and it should go up again? And we did. And it worked out. Maybe we got out a little bit early, but you know what? This one right here was like, I thought that it was going to contract again. It kind of did. Kind of did. I mean, now they're coming back. So, who knows? It looks like the robot is done. So, I think that, though I've been trying to take trades based off of that, and they haven't really worked out. Because the thing is like, you can end up being wrong. Like, you go here, you take that one short. If it had come down there, you might have taken that short, and then it can head fake on you. Like, that happens a lot, actually. So, yeah. So I've had a couple of trades where I was using that, and they were wrong. But the winners end up being more than the losers, but I just didn't have enough, to really mess with it. Let's see here. I recommend you break out of the market profile indicators trap, break out of the box and make your own original market indicators. Don't copy others. Well, like I said, I don't have any actionable setup off of it. I guess the only one that I really pay attention to is if we come into a distribution area from a previous day, we're likely to trade through it. That's about it. I think that the volume profile is useful because the way that the level 2 trades, the way that when we're watching the DOM, you see a lot of that behavior. But I've also found that you see a lot of this behavior that we see over here in the chart. Like, it really does do this thing where we'll move up and then we'll kind of come in here, and then maybe they'll try on this side and it doesn't go very well, and then they push it even harder this way. And sometimes it's just like they go in here, and once they break this, all of a sudden, like, they're ready to go. And once you understand that, it's a little bit easier to read the price action movement from it. But I don't totally make my own indicators, right? Like this thing right here, which is really what I try to use to base my trades off of. I mean, that's where I got out. It was a good exit. Something else happening? I don't see anything yet, but that was kind of some interesting action there. Well, anyways, you can't find that anywhere else. As far as I have some videos in NinjaTrader programming, and I teach you everything that you need to know to make it yourself, but I haven't made it available yet. Maybe I will sell it. I'm still just kind of trying to figure out how to do that. And we were trying to make it in CR charts, but then CR charts is weird, and there's all this stuff. And I don't know what's going to happen. Maybe I just need to stop being lazy and set up a website and try selling it myself. I don't know. Oh, whoops, I forgot. I need to have this one up. Let's see here. Seth, are you familiar with one order cancels the other, or bracket orders? You place a trade above or below for potential breakout to either side. Sure. I mean, that totally makes sense. I need to backtest it is the thing. Because there's something undisputable. That's the thing that's so interesting about that take on the market, is that it's undisputable that there's going to be an inside bar and that at some point it's going to break. And you just know, based on that people have positions, that when it breaks, that it's likely to go a little bit, you know? But I'm still not 100% sure on what the best way is to play those, you know? Like, do you take it as it's going, or do you try and get it when you see an order flow signal, seeing that it's going up into it and stuff? Like, these are some things that we probably need to spend more time testing. So, yeah. Let's see here. Smash the Bit says, ACB nice, Alex is an inventor. Does anyone know of any good paid trading rooms? I don't know of any good paid. I don't think you should pay for a trading room personally. Smash the Bit in, how's that working out? Oh. This can turn into a paid room when you send Seth money. Well, I tell you what, if you send a super chat message, we haven't tested this yet. Maybe we should test this now. Well, it's 8:48. We can still do it. No, don't do it today. Don't do it today. Do it tomorrow. Tomorrow, if you do a super chat message, it's like you can give like 10 cents, I think. And then your message should show up in the scrolling thing at the bottom. And I think that we're going to create like a marquee so that it will actually display what you say here in the room, which would be really fun, right? I think that would be super cool. Sell it on NinjaTrader ecosystem. Well, yeah, in fact, Alex, NinjaTrader contacted me and said that I should join the ecosystem. And I kind of looked at everything that was necessary to do it. But I'm kind of, the problem that I have right now is I don't know if I really want to support it, you know? Like, if it was like I sell it and you get what you get and that was the end of it, then sure. But, you know, there's going to be problems with it and people want stuff. And that's what I'm concerned about. I'm already paying $2.99 for this room. I got a platinum annual subscription a few weeks ago. What are you guys paying? Well, Air Cages does contribute to the Patreon, which, by the way, thank you, Patreon subscribers. We got a good number of them. Those are for Bitcoin indicators, though. I got the Black Friday deal. He offered 6 months for $4,500. I wish. Did you use a coupon? Man. I catch my biggest winners ever off positive trade news. That's the video title. Good stuff. Well, there's a little bit of a bittersweet feeling to it all because the one that was really good was a sim order. But hey, at least I'm not completely crazy, right? Because I was starting to think there, am I like completely crazy? I do think I am slow. Let's test myself again now that we're feeling a little bit more positive. I think that because of my weightlifting that I'm slow. Oh, I have to click to start it. Okay, wait for green. Okay. So yeah, that last one would have moved me out below 200. So that puts me about average, slightly below average. I used to be able to get like below 150. When I'm good, I can get below 150. I bet you on Saturday I might be able to get that. Or maybe Monday. Well, no. Now, maybe next week I might be able to hit that. But I think that that's maybe part of what was going on, was that I was slow. But then also I think like it took some longs and stuff. And where did the position window go? So there was a live trades. There's all of this noise. Like that one, okay, that was a sell. That one didn't work. And then this was the one that was good and I got out of. See, I don't understand what I was doing. And then a couple of these ones were like, why am I taking this trade? This is like a bad time and stuff like that. Especially this one. And then this is the one that I flipped. Yeah, it's very, well, I got really lucky on that one. Anyways. 27, that's almost 32. Never gotten 32. Close. But I think we need some work, guys. And now that this trade war deal thing has gone through, or well, I don't know. I mean, we'll know Monday, right? We'll know for sure Monday what the deal is. But come Monday, then it's just going to be like, sell all of the things, right? Well, sell all of this. I don't know about the E-mini. How high can the E-mini go off of this? Oh, it's going to be tough. I keep forgetting that you guys aren't over here. Is it acetrades.com for $6.99? There's a YouTube channel. Oh, really? I don't know. I don't think that's the same guy. I liked when Kyrie Irving trolled the media and made him... You really think he was trolling the media? Now, some ADHDers have slow processing speed. No, I'm telling you, when I'm in the morning, it's because I was lifting 90% clean and jerks yesterday. And that's a hit to your nervous system. I should probably drink a Gatorade when I can get done here. All right, well, I need to post our Patreon, so I should probably stop yapping. Thank you, guys. If you haven't hit that like button, there's 18 people. Click that like button, guys, because this is a video that we want to be recommended. So hit it hard. Hit it hard. Hit into it like your life depended on it. That button, because yeah, there we go. There we go. Thank you very much, guys. We want this video to be recommended, right? And here's all the Patreon subscribers. You can check out the Patreon. Patreon.com/speculators. That I post cryptocurrency valuation indicators every day. I might expand it here, so we'll see. And to include treasury stuff. And thank you all again. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button and the bell icon, because that makes it very easy to find us every morning. And that's it. So I will see you guys tomorrow. Will be an interesting day. And in the meantime, stay profitable, friends. Stay profitable.